Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 23. He who rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with the tongue. Seems like kind of a straightforward verse until you think about it for a while. What does it mean to flatter? Well, a simple definition from Kent Hughes is this. Gossip is saying behind a person's back what you would never say to his or her face. Flattery is saying to a person's face what you would never say behind his or her back. So we have flattery versus rebuke. There's a common phrase we used to hear. Maybe you've said it. Maybe somebody's tried to butter you up or flatter you. And when that's happening, often we'll say or hear somebody say, flattery will get you nowhere. We don't hear that much anymore in our culture. If you look how our culture is currently functioning, it would appear that just the opposite is true. In our culture today, it's deemed in some situations to be criminal to rebuke or correct. To rebuke or correct is to be ostracized by society, maligned, attacked, silenced, canceled, and at worst, arrested. But if you flatter people, you say what they want to hear. They don't care if you believe it or not, but you must affirm them verbally. That's how superficial our society is getting. And if you do affirm them verbally, even if you don't believe it, society will applaud you and accept you. They don't care what you believe, but you have to verbally flatter people, affirm them. And to say this, that flattery will get you places in our culture. It'll get you a lot of places in our culture. We see it in politics. There's elections coming up in our country and in the States, and you're going to hear a lot of flattery going on. A lot of people saying things to people's faces as they would never say behind their back. I think we hear a lot of it in award shows and so on. Randy Smith puts it this way. What is flattery? It is a superficial, selfish pandering, often used to get what someone wants. The goal is to elevate someone in their own mind in order to get them to say what you want to hear. And two words jump out of that definition, superficial and selfish. And like we've already seen that. But flattery is not about helping others or encouraging others. It's a form of manipulation. It's about how I am perceived by others and the person I'm flattering. I want people to hear me saying the right things to this person, and I want this person to hear me saying the right things to them so that they will think well of me and society will think well of me. I may not believe what I'm saying in my heart, but I'm going to flatter this person and say what they want to hear. Flattery sets up people to be used. Flattery has a motive to manipulate, to bring selfish things my way. Flattery is really all about the flatterer in most cases. In describing the heart of fallen man, it says that they flatter with the tongue. Proverbs 29:5 says, a man who flatters his neighbor is spreading a net for his steps. Jesus talks about those who honor him with their lips, but their heart is far from him. That's flattery. They say to his face what they would never say behind his back. Elsewhere we see what flattery looks like in Proverbs chapter 26. Like an earthen vessel overlaid with silver dross are burning lips and a wicked heart. He who hates disguises it with his lips. He lays up deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. That's what flattery looks like. He lays up deceit in his heart. He disguises hatred with his lips. He speaks graciously, but what you're hearing is not really how he feels and what he thinks. So I think it begs the question, would you rather be flattered or rebuked? I think most people today in our culture would say they'd rather be flattered. The mark of a superficial society is that they would rather be flattered. Tell me what I want to hear. Now in our day, it's not a matter of choice. It's a matter of law. We are told we are not allowed to rebuke. We must affirm. But in the long run, afterward, there's no favor, only regret. This person, instead of hearing the truth that might save or protect or make them think, they're affirmed in their sin. They're affirmed in their trespass. They're affirmed in their decision to go down a wrong road or make a bad choice. They're flattered by those too afraid they're flattered by those who are afraid to criticize or to be looked down on in society for being negative or to taking a stand. The flatterer is as evil as the one demanding to be flattered. The flatterer is looking for acceptance and approval, affection from society or the person they're speaking to, and they're unwilling to rock the boat by speaking what they really think that might correct or confront a person heading in a harmful or sinful direction. Psalm 36, 1-2 says, transgression speaks to the ungodly within his heart. This is what it says. There's no fear of God before his eyes, for it flatters him in his own eyes. What flatters him? His transgression, his sin. His sin flatters him in his own eyes concerning the discovery of his iniquity and the hatred of it. That's why the sinner says, God does not see, I will never get caught. Our society would say, faithful are the affirmations of a friend. That's what our society preaches. Proverbs says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Proverbs 17:17 says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. We need that person in our lives who will be honest with us. If your heart desires to be surrounded by those who flatter you, you are walking a dangerous path. We all need to be corrected and rebuked at times, made to think about our choices and actions. And if we refuse to have such people in our lives, we will never grow and mature as we ought. As I was thinking about this, I started thinking back to several years ago when American Idol first came on the scene, years ago now. And when it first came on, one of the things people tuned in to hear the most was to hear people who thought they could sing stand up and try to sing. And it was shocking to hear some of the people come on that show who thought they could sing, who couldn't carry a note in a bucket. Well, how did they get there? Flattery had convinced them they were something they were not. Somewhere along the line, people were not telling them the truth. They were telling them what they wanted to hear, or else they didn't believe what they were hearing. And to their embarrassment, the whole world got to see them humiliated. Why? Because no one would tell them the truth, or because they would not listen to the truth unless they were flattered. That's the condition our society is in today. How much more serious is it when we are dealing with eternal issues, souls of men and women? Remember our verse? He who rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with the tongue. Society may say the opposite, but we must believe what Scripture says and speak the truth in love, graciously. Afterward, we will find more favor, and they will know that they have a true friend, a friend indeed. We all need such a friend, and we all need to be such a friend. So there's lots to think about in that little verse, isn't there? He who rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with the tongue. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.